The irony of those words didn't pass me by as I ran for my life through the once clean corridors of the research facility, now paved red with the blood of my friends and colleagues. If I could, I would run forever, out of the facility, through space, away from Mars, all the way back to Earth. But my thin legs screamed, and my weak lungs burned, and when both collapsed, I tumbled across the floor. There I remained, flat on my back, desperately inhaling white-hot razor blades. I could hear the screams in the distance, in between every rasping breath I fought for. Around me, gore and marrow slowly dripped from the walls and ceiling, lit by the red emergency lighting and the shimmering blood sigils that had been drawn on every flat surface, whispering dark, prophetic truths to me. In the distance, the screaming finally stopped. Emma. Clark. They were dead. At least I hoped they were. I ran. That's why I was still alive. Even though I had the gun, I ran. Left them to the demons, to be ripped, torn, mangled. I had the gun, but I couldn't. I didn't freeze. No, I just turned around, locked the door, and ran. I lifted the handgun, studied its chrome design, its power cell and accelerators. Small, deadly. I knew how to use it. Aaron had taught me in secret, but still. A shuffling alerted me, followed by a groan. Fuck! More of them? Fast as I could, I wrenched my drained body back on its feet, though my legs remained shaky. It was coming from around the corner. Gripping tight my gun, I peeked past the wall and found a lone figure standing in the middle of the blood-soaked hall, right next to a security office. My heart jumped inside my chest. That office had sturdy doors, some weapons, and even better, my keycard should give me access. I just needed to get around that. The figure turned around. Perhaps they had heard my heart jump and looked right at me, or so I assumed. There was a hole in its head where its eyes should be. A big, blackened hole, seemingly bottomless. It was one of the possessed. At one point in life, that thing had been an employee here at the facility, just like me. Now, his jumpsuit hung tattered and torn from his deformed and melting body. In some places, flesh and suit had even merged together. Shit, I hissed when the monstrosity came shuffling my way, hands outstretched like claws, eager to grab and pull me straight into its snapping jaws. For a moment, I opted going back before realizing that would only get me killed faster. No running away this time. With trembling hands, I raised the gun, which seemed to weigh a ton all of a sudden. I aimed just like Aaron had taught me, relaxed my shoulders, and squeezed the trigger. The gun kicked and spat out a blue flash of energy, which took a chunk out of its neck. Too bad that didn't even bother it. It continued its march unhindered, coming closer. I tried again, taking its ear, but like last time, it ignored the damage and kept shuffling towards me. Damn it! It was close enough to smell now, which was just as disgusting as its appearance. God fucking... With a crack, the possessed skull cracked open and splattered black bile across the wall. It shrieked once before toppling over and crashing down on the floor. It took me a few moments to recover, to realize what just happened. I had killed it, shot it dead. I almost chuckled. Third time's the charm. A massive crash behind me erased any bit of relief, and panic took its place. The demons were coming. Faster than I thought myself capable, I dashed towards the security office, rammed my keycard against the door, and rushed inside. Not a moment too soon. The instant the door had locked itself, something huge threw itself against the other side. I screamed, pressing my back against the wall so hard I thought I would fuse with it. Another deafening bump which left an alarming dent in the door. A dozen somethings appeared at the window, orange scales, glowing eyes, teeth and claws scratching at the glass with ferocious appetite. The sick feeling in my stomach was flushed away by another assault on the door. Whatever was on the other side was big. It was only a matter of time before the door would give way, and then I could only hope they would kill me before they started eating. That's when the gunfire started. Not some pot shots of an overly confident survivor, no. This was a complete symphony of firearms. 100 bullets whistled past the window and tore away the demons, spraying their blood and innards over the glass. The banging at the door stopped, and the screeching and roaring only grew louder. Whatever army was out there, they were winning. I dared releasing a sigh of relief, even before the battle was over. I was safe. Rescue troops or rallying security teams, whichever it was, they would take me to safety, and with an awful sound, the door burst open like cardboard, and 400 kilos worth of demon came flying through, crashing down on the floor. I froze under the desk, my heart collapsing in my chest. Dirt-brown scales covered every inch of the demon. It had goat-like legs, claws that could take apart a tank, and a legion of teeth protruding from the gaping mouth that was half its face. A Hell Knight. I would scream if I could, but my body just shut down. Even when the giant shook its head and looked right at me, I didn't scream. But then I saw something that wasn't right. There, written in those big, crimson eyes, I saw what I had seen in the eyes of all my friends right before they had been torn apart. Fear. This thing was afraid. I didn't even know they could fear. What would a Hell Knight possibly fear? Then the chain around its ankle rattled and started dragging the demon outside. It struggled, snarling and whining, clawing at the floor, the walls, grabbing anything it could grab. But the chain was unyielding, and yard by yard the Hell Knight was dragged back into the hallway. The sounds of gunfire had stopped without me noticing. A final roar sounded outside, and then the screaming started. Not human. Whining, wailing, screaming, along with the sounds of flesh being torn and broken. Until all was silent. All I could hear was my own breath, deep and fast. Sweat poured down my back and face. I didn't even feel shame when I realized that I had pissed myself. Slowly I crawled from under the desk, my fingers touching the inch-deep grooves in the floor. Through the broken door, I could only see blood and gore spread around in pieces. A truly unholy slaughter. There was that irony again. Footsteps sounded just outside, and I beheld the 7-foot-tall suit of armor stepping inside. An amber visor looked back at me, showing my reflection. Neither of us said a word. I was too busy gawking at him, at the blood that was splattered all over his armor, at the massive chain gun in his hands. I couldn't even flinch when he reached out to me and yanked my keycard from my jumpsuit. Then he just turned around and left, his boots crushing the things he alone had mulched to pieces. I just sat there, scared, paralyzed, soaked in my own fear. It was only minutes later I realized just how quiet the world had become. Even the blood sigils had stopped whispering.